You keep it quiet, we say it loud. The things you hide, we're calling out. Double lives and blurred lines, love that cuts, truth that bites. Sex, secrets, and a little sass. Nothing stays buried when you drop the mask. We're the Gen Sexers, no shame, no filter. Just the truth.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sex, Secrets, and Sass. I'm Angie.
And I'm Chrissy, and we are the Gen Sexers. So today we are going to be talking about a book that we both loved. And we mentioned it in, I think, last week's episode with Tiffany called Untrue. I'm showing it here for the people that are viewing this on YouTube. Untrue by Wednesday Martin.
So
it is
good.
Phenomenal. I think every woman should absolutely read it, and every man, really, every person should read this. The tagline is why nearly everything we believe about women, lust, and infidelity is wrong, and how the new science can set us free.
Yes, it was published in 2018, but I think a lot of what she's talking about is still so true. It's really fascinating, and she's got cred. So PhD from Yale. So yeah, she got her PhD in comparative literature and cultural studies at Yale. So she's fast. The book is fascinating. So
it really is. And also that makes sense why I had to have a thesaurus next to me while reading this book, because there were so many words I was not familiar with, or I was semi-familiar with and just wanted the correct definition of. So,
right. Yeah. I was originally drawn to this book because I think you also work with women who are engaging in relationships outside of their romantic partnership.
Yep.
Usually not known to the other partner. That's kind of what they get caught up in. And so when I saw that this book, the tagline was, how everything's wrong, I just thought, ooh, I need to read this for my own edification. And one thing that I really thought was so cool was in her introduction, she talks about how this book has a point of view. And
it certainly does.
Her view is women who reject monogamy are brave. Because the female infidelity is far from uncommon, but also because the fact of it and our reactions to it are useful metrics of female autonomy and of the price women continue to pay for seizing privileges that have historically belonged to men.
Mic drop.
I was just going to say, boom. That just says it right there. That, if any of you are listening and have gone outside of your partnership, in a sense, that's kind of brave because you took it upon yourself to say, I want to go do this. And it might have been conscious or unconscious. And there's lots of studies about that. But what I found interesting, and it's also in other statistics of books that I'm reading that are even more current, of the infidelity gap has decreased. The amount of
in terms
women,
of percentages,
the percentage of women that stray is the same as the percentage of men.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's always been that way, and just the amount of people willing to admit it or to be forthcoming about it.
Yeah, it could be that.
Sense?
And I also wonder too, though, if it's because women are more now in this time in history than in the past, more financially independent, even if they are partnered. And so there's this sense of, I don't need to be in this marriage in order to survive, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think she points that out too at one point. in the
Mhm.
book. Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
your favorite part? Do you have one?
Oh my gosh. Look, y'all, I have so many tags, little Post-it notes in this book. Gold. There's so many moments of gold in this book. So fascinating. So I'm just going to pick one. We're going to talk about it. So I want to circle back to the episode with Tiffany, and we kind of asked those 4 questions,
Oh, yeah.
right? So that's the first part that I had highlighted. What would it be like to watch your partner or spouse have sex with someone else and see them really enjoying it? What feelings would come up? What meanings would you make from their enjoying the sex? And what if they fell in love? Hmm. What are your thoughts on that, Angie?
Okay. So how I would feel watching my husband have sex with someone else and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we recorded with Tiffany, I think I had said that I don't know if I had answered, but I know at that time I had said it would be a turn on.
I remember that.
And
Mm-hmm.
I brought up how secure attachment, the more secure you are in the relationship. And Tiffany even said enlightened. I remember, you're enlightened enough to want your partner to be happy and find pleasure. And maybe it's not always with you, and it feels much more expansive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I happened to go for field work. I went to a BDSM dungeon with a friend of mine who is a part of that BDSM community to basically go to one of their labs that they offer. And it was on spanking. So it was a class on spanking.
Are you sore?
And I was a little sore, yeah. I will say that my husband said, watch, don't do. And I did let my friend spank me with a few different things, just her. But the more I was there and I was watching people, and sometimes there were couples, and you could tell they were couples, I woke up the next day going, I don't know if I could watch more into that. Like I kind of just shifted because I was imagining myself being in a place like that. And could I be there and watch him engage in
Mm.
something like that? And I thought, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, it's so interesting. In that episode, I did reveal that I had fantasies about that, right? I have
Yeah.
fantasies about watching my husband with somebody else, or I have fantasies about him watching me with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm enlightened enough to consider the possibility, but in reality, I don't know that I would be able to do it in reality, right? Fantasies are wonderful. That's a great thing about our mind. We can
Yes.
fantasize
Yes.
anything and it doesn't harm anybody, right?
Right.
And so there's no shame. I have no shame about my fantasies, obviously. And I don't know what it would be like in the flesh. Right.
Yes.
A part of me is certainly curious what would that be like. And on one hand, it would be hot. And she mentions it in the book, right? You can have these 2 things at the same time. This mm, this being turned on by it and
Right.
really you find it very hot and have this jealousy that comes up, right? They can both be there at the same time. And
Where would the jealousy come from, though? Like, what would you be most jealous about? Like, I'm
that's a good
thinking
question.
because, I'm envisioning watching the act happen and being objective about it, but then watching him enjoy it
Mm,
is where I think I would start to feel insecure.
yeah, absolutely.
I
I
think
would be
that's
insecure around that, and I would also be insecure about comparing my body or my moves, right, to this other person. "Oh, I
yes.
wish my body looked like that," or "She has thinner thighs than I do," or whatever my inner critic tells me about my body.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that would be a part of it. And the last question, what if they fell in love? Hell no. That for me, no, sex only. No love. No love. Which how can I determine that, right? How can I
Right.
tell someone else who to fall in love with? That's
How can you
ridiculous.
guarantee that?
Right. Right.
And I think that's
And
why my husband doesn't want me to even explore my, bisexuality and explore that side with another woman. Because
Mhm. What if you get
what if
feelings?
what if I
Right.
fall in love? Right. What if I just want this person more than, just for a one-time exploration thing?
Mhm.
And the different kinds of scenarios that she even outlined of people, how they are living with a more open marriage. And I thought, I don't know that I could do that
Mhm.
and be
Well,
okay with the rumors flying around.
right. I was just thinking I would be okay if I could have the double standard. Can I just be in the open relationship and you be in a not open relationship? No.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, I don't even know if I could do that.
Yeah.
I might have just said that for laughs. I'm not sure. But there
Right.
certainly is a double standard. And I think she talks about that in the book too, right? How we want to be able to have our cake and eat it too in a way, right?
Uh-huh.
Each of us, each of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's so different when a female
Mhm.
has a relationship outside, especially a sexual relationship outside of the romantic partnership versus when a man does.
Right. It's almost, I don't want to say a given, but it's almost, of course, the man had the affair, or of course he has a mistress. It's very rare when you see the opposite
Mm-hmm.
or hear about the
Right.
opposite. So in that same vein, I highlighted this. Uh, Wednesday Martin was at this convention about non-monogamy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the instructor, Kopp, asked each of the groups those questions. So, quote, he explained that the opposite of the jealousy that feels like a stab to your heart and a stone in your gut is compersion, a sensation of excitement in witnessing your partner enjoy himself or herself while having sex with someone other than you.
Hmm. So,
Compersion. I've never heard that.
so again, are you more enlightened if you're able to see that?
Who knows?
And I
But I
think it
think
just
I would,
depends on each person,
right.
right?
Because I think I would experience both. I think I would be jealous and I would experience compersion.
Our vocabulary word for this episode. One of the things that I think women run into is something that she says that Alicia Walker, who is a sociologist, Alicia Walker has suggested that in being untrue, women violate not just a social script, but a cherished gender script as well.
Absolutely.
And that's where I get personally on my soapbox, and why when people ask, why do you work with people who cheat?
Mhm.
I'm like, well, why not? First of all. And a lot of times they need support. They have no one to talk to. And as Brene Brown says, shame needs three things: secrecy,
Mhm.
silence, and
Mhm.
judgment.
Mhm.
And someone who has, especially a woman who has engaged in an extramarital affair, feels all of those things. I mean, I know
Absolutely.
many women who have not even talked to their best friends about it. They are so silent and just drowning in shame. So when they do open up to me or another therapist or maybe finally a trusted friend, it just feels like this weight is off. Okay, I can talk about this. I can
Mm.
feel something about it. Because if you can't talk about it, you can't do anything about it.
Right. Right. I imagine, and this could be my own stereotypes, but I imagine how difficult it is for we women to talk about it with others because of the fear of judgment and, but your husband's so great or your partner's so
Oh,
great, why would you do that? And picturing the same scenario with a bunch of men. Good for you, bro. You really hit it, right? And then there's this dichotomy of we women experiencing like the Madonna and the whore, right? That
They want
either you're
both.
one or the other. Right, exactly. They want both, but one person can't be both. Right.
Unless you're ludicrous and then you say, I want a lady in the street, but a freak in the bed. It's one of my favorite songs. And that's really the only part that I know because I'm like, yes!
Yes. But I remember a friend telling me this years ago that once she had children with her husband, he didn't look at her as a sexual being anymore, other than just to please him.
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't allowed to dress sexy anymore. You're a mother. You can't dress like that. And I'm talking about maybe showing a little bit of cleavage or shoulders like I'm showing now. He would not allow. It's too sexy. You're a mother. What the fuck, dude?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a level of entitlement that I think sometimes goes along with marriage. It's interesting because one of the things that Dr. Martin talks about in the book is that when we were foragers and hunter-gatherers, it was more equal between the genders in terms of taking care of you didn't really have a house because you were wandering all the time, but in taking care of the community, the family, multiple
Clan.
people, taking care of the kids. And it was just more of a community effort. And the agricultural revolution changed everything because of the plow. It is basically because no matter how you divide it, men just are going to be stronger with upper body strength.
Right.
And stronger hand grip. And because of that, women were relegated to the home to take care of what could be done at home while the men were out pushing the plows and stuff. And then even in World War II, when so many men in the United States went to go fight the war, she talks about how women were forced to wear dresses while being in the fields.
Right.
Women were like, yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we can take over. We can do this. No problem.
And they sure did.
We have to wear dresses.
I know. I can feel the intense rage inside.
Right.
Yeah. And going back to that period of time when the plow was invented and women were relegated to a more passive role, our bodies started changing over generations.
That's
right.
right.
Our periods started becoming more regular.
Yes.
And because we had more fat stores because we weren't working out in the fields as much. So our bodies were changing. We had more fat stores. We had regular periods. So we were able to be fertile more often.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yes. So interesting, right?
Really interesting. Yeah. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here because the other thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that so many people, men and women, believe incorrectly that men have more of a sex drive than women. That men just want sex more than women. How many times have I heard that in the therapy room?
Right?
And in real life. I mean, not that therapy is not real life, but you know what I mean. I hear it in the therapy room and I hear it out and about that men just want it. Men want sex and women want safety and connection and intimacy. Yes, and we also want sex. Women want sex just as much as men want sex, if not more, and there is science to prove it, folks. Let's talk about bonobos. Because that part of the book was so fucking fascinating to me, reading about these magnificent creatures, the bonobos. And I think, am I pronouncing them correctly?
I think
Bonobos?
so.
Bonobos? Bonobos? Well, they're primates. most closely related to humans?
Genetically, we
Genetically.
share 99% of our genes.
Yeah.
They are more closely connected to humans. They're more closely connected to us than to chimpanzees or
Yeah. Isn't that
gorillas.
fascinating?
Mhm.
Fascinating.
Yes. And is it a matriarchal society?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have so much highlighted in that section of this book. Fascinating creatures. I love that in the San Diego Zoo where she spent some time, they are
Hidden.
relegated. Yes, they are relegated to the far reaches of the San Diego Zoo. They're not easily accessible. And she soon found out why. So you have to, cross a bridge and go behind a building and go another 20 miles, to, to find them because they have sex all the time.
And it's the women, it's the
And it's the
females who
women.
drive it.
Right. It is the female bonobos that drive everything within their culture, right? Including
Mhm.
sexual behavior. Yeah.
And
I
they
don't know
have
where I want to start with them.
face-to-face sex as well.
Yes, right.
Unlike from behind, which is,
Common in mammals.
I would say almost all other mammals. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I
But
think she talks about it's very rare
yeah.
when animals are face to face, but humans and bonobos are
Mhm.
face to face. I love that. Partly it's
And
because there's a lot of female to female action in bonobos mating.
and their
And
clitoris is
right,
huge.
because they have these big clitorises. Clitori? What's the plural of
I
clitoris?
think
Clitorises?
clitorides.
Clitoroids? Clitorides. Okay.
Clitorides.
Clits. I'm going to shorten it to clit. So their clits are so ginormous and on the outside that these females will rub it on each other's, like clit to clit
Mhm.
action. And they'll also clit to anything action. If it's exposed, they're like, hey, I'm going to rub it on anything. And they get such joy out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They are also, she writes, basically, they seem to have sex constantly throughout the day with just about anybody.
Yeah.
But what I love is how the females pretty much rule the roost there. The females were female affiliative, socially gregarious, and very sexual. And there is sometimes a pattern of female on male violence. But for the most part, what I found so interesting is they don't see infanticide or females being sexually coerced. We don't see males being aggressive to females in any way. They also said, and when they first started studying this, the scientific community said that's not true because we have this ingrained idea in our society that matriarchy isn't even valid.
Right.
But I loved this part. I highlighted it. It all begged a number of questions about our world. Watching bonobos and the female matriarchy. If human females lived under these conditions, which are a world that was female bonded, female affiliative, they would come to each other's aid to watch the young, to attack any kind of male who might be aggressive, and female dominant, and where females had the freedom to be blatantly pleasure focused, then sex on college campuses would look very different indeed.
Yeah.
Men would not dream of assaulting women in a world where sex happens publicly. Not that I think I want that. Women are there to watch it all happen, and girl power is the actual order of things.
I highlighted that too. That was so
I just got
empowering.
chill.
Yep. Imagine that world.
What a difference it would be. We wouldn't be scared of walking down a sidewalk. Like, I have all the power.
That reminds me of something that was going around on our TikTok or Instagram. The question was to women, if you were in the woods alone and you came across a bear or a man, which would you prefer to be approached in the woods? Would you rather see a bear or a man? And I forget the percentage, but the majority of women said a bear, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, neither sound great, but it doesn't matter, right? It's a thought question, right? But how sad is it that most women automatically said bear? I would say bear. I mean,
Well,
maybe I die in both situations, but the bear would be quicker for one
we know what
thing.
we're getting with the bear.
Right, the bear. That's exactly right. Right.
With a man, I don't know what I'm going to get. Me? Will he, hurt me and then leave me
Mm-hmm.
or just kill me?
Right.
Like we don't know
Rape
if
me and then kill me.
we
Right.
don't know if we have a friend or foe with that. With the bear, I know exactly I know what
Right.
to
You
do
know
with
what you're getting. Yeah. And I know if I just make myself bigger, right, I have a good chance of scaring the bear away. With a man, I do that. I don't think it's going to do anything other than maybe he'll think I'm crazy. Yeah. So I kind of want to be a bonobo for a day, bonobo female for a day.
I want to go watch. I just want to watch and see and maybe get some encouragement. I don't want to be able to have sex whenever and wherever
with whomever, right?
I don't even want to watch that. Like that doesn't appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, just to know that it's for women to have that power. And I think what really struck me is that the female bonobos have each other's backs no matter what.
Yeah. How empowering is that?
I don't know that we as human primates do
At least
that.
in our current culture and our societal norms.
Yeah.
Right. I found the part where she talks about finding the bonobos and the section in which she found them. It occurred to me that the bonobos might be tucked away because with all their screwing and sucking and scissoring and shit eating, they're not exactly rated G great apes. Our very closest relatives are far from family friendly. I thought that was really hysterical.
Yes.
Yeah, the part that you read earlier about if females lived under these conditions, I highlighted it. I will read a little bit further down too, that I also highlighted and exclamation pointed. What if all our presumptions of alpha males being dominant adventurers in sexual conquest and women as passive recipients seeking a single dominant male's attention come from the long shadow cast by the plow, not from how we evolved? What if women are, in fact, wired at some level to be sexually dominant and promiscuous, and to use sex for pleasure and building social bonds with other women? And it is primarily environment that has resulted in our behaving otherwise.
Boom.
Boom. Okay, so now we're going to transition into talking about the American culture. Because there are a couple women, actually several women, but in this particular section, Dr. Martin is interviewing a woman she calls Annika, who's originally from Scandinavia. And she comes to America as a teenager. And the difference in culture surrounding sex and sexuality was so night and day. It's quite shocking. I will use some quotes from her here. So as she talks about Annika, she said she was warm, open, and engaging. She was a Scandinavian and had moved to a wealthy suburb of Chicago with her family as a teen, just as I said. The transition was jarring. I was used to a high level of independence and maturity. At home, my friends and I could go out to lunch on our school lunch hour and have a beer, she said. But in the US, I had to bring a note from my mother if I was late for school because I was stuck in traffic. it was so infantilizing and confusing. And then she talks about back home having sex education, right? It was practically demonstrated, she laughed. A lot of information was imparted in great detail beginning before adolescence.
Yeah.
What Annika didn't learn at school, she heard from her mother, who spoke to her honestly about sex. Quote, I remember her once saying, when grown-ups with kids go away to a hotel without them, it's a free-for-all. She gave me the sense that it was fun. Indeed, sex was sort of in the air wherever you looked while Annika was growing up. Where I'm from, you see women's breasts in ads on billboards. There's not the shameful feeling there is here. Where I'm from, prostitution is legal, for God's sake. And that was always my baseline.
Mm.
In school here, sex ed was called health.
Yep.
I'm quoting that, health. And they basically just explained how the sperm fertilized the egg and then told you not to do it. So listen to those differences in culture surrounding sex and how we talk about it and what is learned and what is accepted and what is natural. It's so fascinating to me.
Right. Yeah.
I do remember sex ed when I was in middle school. I think the first time I ever had any kind of sexual education, it was called health ed for sure. And it was very, very much how she describes it, right? This is how the sperm fertilizes the egg, and here are different body parts. And that was like pretty much it.
I don't even remember getting sex education at school.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, I don't. I remember asking my mom about it, and she told me. I remember giggling throughout the entire thing. She ended up getting mad at me. She's like, if you're going to laugh about it. But I was like, oh, I think it was giggling of like, oh my gosh, like, ooh, just this nervous, not quite sure whether to be titillated or mortified about, ooh, probably 10 or 11 when I was really like, how, I had a little sister. Like, how does that happen? What do you do? And then my own kids, they, in 5th grade, went to this center where they learned about how babies were made, but they didn't learn about sex itself and intercourse. They just, like you said, and I remember a mother calling me saying, are you going to let my son go? And I was like, yeah, why not? And she goes, yeah, I'm not going to let. And she had a son the same age. And I said, well, he's going to learn. He's going to find out from his peers, right? Yeah, but I'm just totally against this. I'm thinking to myself,
so fascinating.
Okay. I mean, it's your choice. You can not let him go. He's going to find out.
Wow. Yeah,
Either way.
I know that neither of my parents sat down with me and told me about the birds and the bees. And there's another thing, right? We call it the birds and the bees.
Like, why?
To make it sound right. So rather than sex, right? Oh, it's so funny. But they never sat me down to talk about it. I was given a book. I may have mentioned this on a previous episode. I was given a book that had these beautiful pencil drawn images of body parts. It was actually a really good book, and it showed how through puberty our bodies change, both for boys and girls, and it was really informative. But that's how I learned. I just saw the pictures and read the book, and that was it. And then I experienced it.
Well, I was pulling encyclopedia. This is when we had hardbound dictionary, and I'd go to the word penis just to read about it, or I'd go to the word vagina. And that was probably my way of looking at dirty magazines, like it just because I was interested. I was a teenager. I didn't know.
Because we're curious.
I wanted to know more. And I was having all sorts of feelings, but I was being told by every adult and my religion, you can't do that. You can't even go, you can't even touch, even above clothes. You can't do any of that. So curious. of what that was like. So, yeah. Anyway. That's in another episode. She does have a whole chapter in here of what it's like to be a person of color.
Absolutely. I love those chapters.
Person of color, and how that you've got the gender, the race, and the stigma, and then many of them tack on the religion. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to have a whole episode to that because that was
Mhm.
really such beautifully written and fascinating.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I will go back to the Scandinavian woman and how in her culture, like seeing breasts and seeing women's bodies
No
was
big deal.
normal, right? No big
Mhm.
deal. Like I think our breasts are beautiful. I love looking at breasts. When I see them on TV, I think they're so beautiful. And it's so interesting. Like in our culture, if we show any kind of cleavage, we're labeled a certain way, right? Or I know when I wear something without a bra, like I'm not wearing a bra right now. Like you could see my nipples, right? You can't see my nipples right now, but right, if I'm nipping out, my husband will make a note of it. No, you can't wear that. You're nipping out. You're nipping out all the time. What's the difference? Right? He said, well,
Yeah.
that's different. That's different. How is it different? We both have nipples. And I am not ashamed of my nipples.
Right?
If I could go, I went topless on a beach once in Portugal.
Mhm.
And that felt so freeing because there were a
Right?
lot of other women there with their breasts bare because there was some French women and some other women from different cultures. And it was so freeing to
Oh,
be
I went to a
topless.
place in Mexico. It was a week-long resort there, and if you went and it was co-ed, but if you went up to, like, a rooftop area on the female side, you could sunbathe nude, and I went up there with a friend of mine. I'm like, "I'm gonna try it. I just wanna see what it feels like," and I made sure to put lots of sunscreen where places hadn't seen the
Yep.
sun,
Right.
and I was like, "This feels weird,
It feels weird, but freeing.
but freeing at the same time." I remember not quite knowing how I felt about it, but I will tell you here at our lake house, I go into our hot tub even before the sun is down, and my husband's like, "You're just gonna go out there naked?" I'm like, "We have one neighbor way across the pond." I'm like, "If they have their binoculars out to see me, kudos to them."
Right.
Here
Enjoy.
I am.
Enjoy.
Like,
Enjoy.
I am in my backyard getting into my hot tub, and I
Mhm.
want to feel completely free. So,
I love
yeah,
that.
it does feel free to just I have a friend who goes to nudist resorts around here in the area.
Fun.
Mhm. And he just loves it. He just and my question was, what happens if you get turned on by somebody?
For we women, it's a little bit less obvious
Right? Like,
or a
but
lot less obvious.
for a man, he's like, I usually just go in the pool." I'm like, "Okay, all right." He goes, "But really, to be honest, I'm not very attracted to the most of the people that are there." So I'm like, "Fair. Okay."
Okay. Mhm.
He's not going there for that.
Right.
He's going there to just not have clothes on and just
Feel
be
free.
free. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
So,
One thing that she does not touch on that I would love to talk about in a future episode is what about women who have never wanted children? Because a lot of what she talks about is child caretaking and birthing and how that all relates to sex and sexuality. And I'm curious about women, or even if there's any female bonobos that don't have offspring, and are they
mhm.
still sexual? I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I feel like a lot of times I am an outlier because I've never wanted children and I don't have children. And so how does sexual desire fit in when it's never been about procreating for me.
Mm,
Although she talks in the book about how women have sex just for pleasure.
right, right.
Mhm.
I've been reading another book, though, and I think part of it, and I'm putting probably the 2 books together, but I'm just wondering if I am enjoying sex more now in my second marriage
Mm.
because we don't have the burden. Not that children are
Mm.
I love my children.
I know
They're
what you
not
mean.
a
Mhm.
burden, but the extra work
Responsibility?
that is involved in making sure tiny humans thrive.
Mhm.
There's just a
Right.
lot that goes into that, and you just unless you are just so really making a concerted effort, it's very difficult to maintain that sex for pleasure idea
Mhm.
with the spontaneity pretty much goes out the door.
Yeah.
You're tired. I can say for myself, it's just I'm touched all day because I was a stay-at-home
Mhm.
mom. I don't want any more touch, and it just it starts to kinda go by the wayside, and I'm just wondering, even though I was quite inventive and I would have friends watch the kids so that
Uh-huh.
my husband would come home and I'd only have a trench coat on, or, ah, I met him at the office and had gotten a room at a hotel for, like, 3 hours.
I love that. Look at you.
I was all sorts of creative
Yeah.
just to kinda keep the spark going, and it still was hard. So I
Yeah.
wonder, though, if I'm just able to enjoy it
Mhm.
more. 1, I'm 55 and I know what I want and I know how to ask for it and I know how to get
Mhm.
it
Yep.
and I'm not afraid to ask for it.
Right.
I'm in a very different relationship, again, because
Mm.
I know what I want. I made sure I got it, right?
Mhm.
And then we
Mhm.
don't have the extra burden of having to
Care
care
for
for kids,
Mhm. Yeah.
which
I know so many women that have gone outside of their marriage that have children, right? That have children and that eventually they went outside their marriage for sexual pleasure because they just weren't sexually attracted to their partner anymore because they had had children with them, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I mean, I don't have personal experience with that, but I imagine that there is something to that for some women and some men, right? I know
Yeah.
the statistics of people going outside of their marriage for sexual pleasure during pregnancy and during early childhood period is quite high,
Yeah.
because of the stress of taking care of children and
Well, and if you're going outside of your marriage or romantic partnership that you've got with children, not everybody is married who has children, but they're significantly together. There's It's all about me
Mhm,
when I go do that. I'm not I am not worried about whether you're enjoying it or not. Like if I'm choosing to go outside, it's
mhm,
for me and me only, and I am
mhm,
all in, and that's what I'm doing.
right. Yeah,
And
I think anecdotally, when I was in the sensual massage business, a lot of my clients that were married would would come to get sensual massage and a happy ending because they weren't sexually as active in their marriage because they did have children. They did have
Mhm,
young children, and in their minds, they justified it as, "Well, it's not sex, right? It's a massage with a happy ending."
mhm.
And that was a way that they could get the release and the sexuality, right? And the sensuality that they weren't getting at home
Yeah.
and not feel like they were cheating, quote unquote, cheating on their wives.
Mhm, mhm. Because we all crave that intimacy.
Yeah.
We need that intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
And I think when you're so busy raising kids, that intimacy, unfortunately, goes out the door. And a lot of times because you're getting that close intimacy with your children, that it's like, I don't even have any more energy to.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just want that intimacy.
We all do. We all want intimacy, right? Male and female. Men don't want it any more than we do, and we don't want it any more than they do. We all want it.
Read the book. It is
Read the
fascinating.
book.
She is a wonderful writer. Just, I mean, I laughed. I agreed. I snorted. I mean, she can be just snarky at times, and it's really, really good.
It's really
Highly,
good, folks.
highly recommend it.
Mhm. I
Would
know
love-
we're a little bit all over the place today, but I hope you followed us. Hope you followed along. And feel free to write in, leave your comments. You can reach both of us at our websites, inthelifetherapy.com and New Approach
Mental health.
Mental Health.
Yeah.
And obviously, those links are in our show notes. You can find us on Instagram at Gen Sexers, at New Approach Mental Health, at In the Life Therapy, and write in anything on your mind. And be sure to
Yes.
like, subscribe, all those things.
Yeah. And I was thinking this morning before doing this, and like, we'd love to interact some more. So if you've got questions, comments, yeah, bring them on.
You know, if someone who is dying to be on our show, like Tiffany was dying to be on our show, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are taking requests.
Yeah. Dr.
And-
Wednesday Martin, if you're out there, we'd love to have you on the show.
That's what I was going to say. Dr. Wednesday Martin, we're going to have you on one of these days.
Such a fabulous book. So, all
And
right.
happy orgasming.
Happy orgasming, everyone.